Hey everyone, welcome to Just Fab with Jess. Today you are in store for a very amazing testimony. My friend Jenny Edelman is just a superwoman. Like, she has just taken her story and really have given, hi baby, this little Jazzy, hi. She, her definition, the definition I would use to describe her is selfless. Like, she will do anything it takes to rescue someone that was in her spot. So tell me about your last relapse. We all have those last relapse.
Correct.
But when we're in the addiction, we feel like we're always going to relapse. But you had your last one. Can you take me back to a little bit of what led up to that, but really what happened?
Okay, so I, again, was in a relationship.
Dang relationship.
Darn you,
Those
Jenny.
men. One addiction for another.
One addiction for another. So I was in a relationship and engaged, and we were living together, and I had my kids, and again, there was just a little something missing, you know, and I came home from work one day, and he had moved out. And when I say moved out, like taken everything, and again, that proved to be fatal because I allowed a man to be in position one, and God fell back in position two.
Right.
So what happened when I fell?
No one to
My
catch you.
God was gone. My
Yeah.
boyfriend was gone, or my fiance was gone. And so where did I run? Where were my coping skills? And my coping skills were not there. So I immediately ran, and I got a prescription for some pills, as you know, and started taking cold medicine, which led up to alcohol, which ultimately landed me in Green Oaks, and lost my kids again. Yeah. And as you know, I was discharged from Green Oaks, and immediately you and my mom and my support system started to jump into action, and everybody was brainstorming, and I continued to sit on the sofa and drink because, again, my allergy was set off, and I didn't know what to do, and there was no God in me. God was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
So I just sat and I waited, and the plan came into place that I was going to go to treatment in California. That, as you recall, we were kind of bouncing back and forth with where, and made the decision to go, and you sent me with a Bible and with a journal, and I knew when I hugged you goodbye, and this is really emotional for me. When I hugged you goodbye that day, I knew I'd never drink again. And I don't say that because I only have one day at a time.
No.
But Jessica, I finally found the missing link, and God showed up with you in that perfect moment, in that perfect timing. And I knew right then what the missing link was.
Wow.
And the missing link was my relationship with God. And so I knew if I followed directions and I made a conscious effort to make conscious contact with God like you had, and like others were telling me in the program, religious, whatever program, I knew I could have that freedom.
Wow.
And I wanted it bad enough that I was willing to, Jessica, I knew I lost my kids.
Yeah.
I knew I lost my house. I knew my job was gone. I knew everything was gone. In 8 days, everything was gone. But you know what? I knew in that moment. And I got there, and I had clear instructions, and I knew what to do, and I knew I needed to be reading, and I listened to what the women there were doing. And as you know, I climbed to the top of Joshua Tree, which is a famous place in Palm Springs, and I got to the top. I have a fear of heights, and you know this story. I was having a full-blown panic attack going me up to the top of Joshua Tree. And I kept asking God to hold my hand and get me up there and get me up there. And when I got to the top, remember I told you, I felt like I could touch God. I felt like I could touch God. And I remember God calling it on my heart that if I could climb to the top of that and get over that fear, that I could do anything. And I literally, anything and everything that God has asked me to do, or I have asked God, help me get to where, not selfishly where I need to be, but, help me climb this next obstacle. Help me, see that the enemy's alive and well and put me back in your direction. Wow. And it was just a culmination of those things prior to leaving, being gone for 30 days, and then, as you know, coming home and staying very strong and very obedient to God and what God was calling me to do, because that's when I had to really learn what it looked like.
That's when you have your last relapse. It's when you come home from rehab and you learn how to walk it out. And I had to do that. Yeah. And you know that. Yeah. I didn't see my children for almost 2.5 years. And tell us about that. Like, you come, you'd already went through this for the last probably 5 years or so before this. And you had worked your way back into it. You figured out how to see your kids. You started putting the pieces back together. Then you got involved with a man. And then he left and you lost it all again.
Yes.
And so you've done this again before. You've fought for your kids. You've done the court route. You've tried to prove yourself sober. You tried to tell people you're fit, Mom. This time, you found God. You come back from rehab. You're actually sober. You're actually walking in a relationship with the Lord. What was your thought process of just letting God do the fighting for you to get your kids back?
So what happened when I came home was I knew I was going to do every single thing completely different.
Yeah.
Everything.
And you have to.
It's imperative. Yeah. And again, I was blessed. But again, I could have pushed you away.
Oh, yeah.
But
I don't waste my time. If you ain't willing to do the work, I'm not willing to.
And you said something really powerful to me when I came home. And you said, as long as you don't lie to me. And so, Jessica, I kept close to you. I kept close to God. I kept close to my program. I continually tried to help women that were going through a battle. And, these women I haven't seen my kid in a month. I haven't, and that's what I do today is I advocate. I'm a big advocate for keeping moms with their children despite their circumstances. Yeah. As long as they're doing the next right thing.
Right.
Because my circumstances, should I probably have been seeing my kids? Absolutely. Oh. But do I believe?
For sure.
And you know this. But Jessica, I didn't. And I could have gone down. Yeah. Because it's living a mother's worst nightmare not to be physically present with your children.
Well, and actually not even to talk to your children.
No, I did, and that's another big piece of the puzzle. There was
not even a phone call.
Not a phone call, not a text, not a visit. I mean, we're talking nothing.
For over 2 years.
For over 2 years. And, as crazy as it was, you remember my go-to phrase was, if I feel this free and I am this happy, Jessica, what am I going to be like when God, not when I get my kids back. What in the world what's going to happen when God puts my kids back in my life? And I don't believe that God kept me away from my children to cause my children harm or, it's something that we had to walk through. And as my oldest daughter just turned 18 and she gets all of this now. Yeah. And it's like she and I have said, if our story can inspire one mom and her children, then it's made all of this, then it's made all of this worth it. Because as you know, God restored. And there's still a lot of heavy lifting, obviously, as you know.
But he's doing it.
I mean, you've seen this miracle unfold.
So me watching it for over 2 years, you know, what was crazy is we kept saying, God will do it, God will do it. And nothing happened. God didn't move. I mean, we didn't see God move. He was moving all along. But we didn't see him move in this situation for 2 years. But dang, like when he started to move, it just happened quickly.
It did.
And you call me one day after 2 years. We keep saying that because it's ridiculous. After one day, you call me, you're like, oh, I'm seeing my kids today. I'm like, you're what?
Right.
And you know, the thing is, it just shows the grace of God. It shows his faithfulness, that he can switch any situation, anybody's motives, anybody's agenda, and push it away.
That's right.
If we just do our part. And that's your story.
And Jessica, that's all I needed to do. And I knew that God was going to restore. I knew he was. But who in the world? Jenny would have been drinking, would have been doing drugs, would have been running around with a million men, would have, who could have lived through that?
Yeah.
But it was all God.
It was all God.
It was all God. Because Jessica, when we would tell people my story, and how in the world did that, how in the world? God, I just kept asking God, and I still ask God this every day. God, where can I show up?
Right.
God, and as you know, I mean, I still fight things every single day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going through a season right now, but God's going to get me through it.
Right.
He always does.
He always does.
And the miracles and the blessings, and that's why I'm transparent.
Right.
You know, I want other mothers and fathers, because
both ways,
because this affects both. You know, until I really realized that I had been restored by God, that I was recovered, that I had made my amends where amends needed to be made, that I was self-sufficient, that God was number one. You know, I have wonderful spiritual advisors. You are the number one, obviously. I have
why you're here to talk about me. No, I'm just kidding.
I have a wonderful sponsor, as you know. And all of that stuff all of a sudden came to fruition, and God just exploded.
And it's a beautiful thing. Your story is beautiful.
It is. It's been amazing.
First, that you're alive through it all.
Amen.
And then what you do for women is a whole different story. Wow. Oh my goodness. Was that not amazing? Jenny's story is just one of my favorites. Every story is my favorite because people get freedom. But she's just a very special lady, and I think this is really just the beginning of what all she's going to do to touch the world and to use her story for God's glory. And if anything, no matter what age you are or what walk of life you are, we all have moments where we need God. We need to walk up the mountain and we need to reach our arms out and surrender our lives. And it's full surrender every day, every minute, in everything. It is, you know, walking away from the things that entangle us and strap us down and chain us, and figuring out what true healing is, and figuring out our purpose and who we are in God and our true identity. And all that to say is that's where true freedom is, and it's in balancing our lives. So thank y'all so much for watching. Until next time, bye.